Hey guys, my name is Josh Smith. I'm the president of Montana Knife Company, and I am super excited to introduce to you the Marshall. This is our Bob Marshall Bushcraft knife that we are coming out with, and I am super stoked about it. All of our other knives have been smaller, more dedicated hunting knives that I've made for certain purposes for hunting. This is more of a camp style knife that you can chop some kindling with. You can do whatever kind of tasks around camp that you need to. It's our thickest ever and our biggest ever blade. So let's go over some of the details about the Marshall. The blade is 7 5/8 inches long from the front of the handle to the tip of the blade. And then from the tip of the blade to the tip of the handle, we are 12 5/8 inches long. So let's talk about a few design aspects of this knife. First of all, it's got a nice wide blade. It's nice and thick, and it's got about a 15 thousandths thick edge, which allows you to be able to chop, but also still nice and sharp to pass through material that you want to cut. I made a finger groove up here in front of the guard for you to be able to choke up on this knife and get a little bit more control if you're doing a little finer task. You can even put your middle finger in there and choke up with your index finger farther up on that blade, where you could even do a little bit of caping or something like that in camp if you were sitting around needing to take care of a head after you guys pack an animal back to camp. This blade has actually got a nice big handle on it for a little larger hand, and I left flat sides on this handle for a reason. When you're chopping with a blade, you don't really want it round. It'll want to turn in the hand. But this knife indexes into your hand. It's got flat sides. It locks in behind the guard and in front of the back of the handle here. We call that kind of the bird beak. Your hand locks in place, nice flat sides. This knife is not going to twist on you. The other thing that we did is we put a hidden lanyard hole in the back of the knife. So this paracord is optional. The paracord that comes with the knife that is wrapped around the package when you open it is the paracord that you can use to put through the back of the handle. So what that's for is to put that over your wrist. You can twist it a few times, and then as you're chopping, if you happen to lose control of the knife, you won't hurt anybody or hurt yourself. So that's a very important thing when you find yourself chopping wood or chopping different things, especially if other people are around. But it's not just about other people, it's about yourself. As your hand fatigues and you're chopping, or maybe it's wet, you don't want to lose control of that knife and have it come back and get you. So a lanyard is very nice for that. So that's the lanyard. Now, this lanyard won't actually be on the knife when you receive it, because a lot of people want that more as an option. They may not want to carry that knife with this lanyard. What I do is I just take that paracord, the ends of it unburned, that's important, leave them nice and frayed. You poke those in that hole right there, and then I bend a paper clip, just a little hook on the end of a paper clip. I stick it in the other side, and I just turn that paper clip, and I catch some of those frayed ends, start pulling them through, and then you can take a little pair of needle nose pliers, stick them in there, and pull that paracord through. And then once you do, you can tie a square knot in the paracord, depending on the length, how big a loop you want. Just tie a paracord square knot, and then burn those ends and kind of mash them so they can't come undone. So that's the paracord. Now let's go back to covering the handle. This handle is G10, just like our other hunting knives. This G10 is really great for putting them to shock, so you can pound on the back of that handle. It also doesn't put up to, it doesn't get affected by heat, by cold, by water, or blood. So it really puts up to the conditions nicely. And this is a knife that's intended to be able to beat on, pound on. You can use the back of that handle, and it's not going to hurt it at all. This blade is made with 52-100 steel, the same as our other carbon steel hunting knives. This is not a stainless knife. This is a carbon steel blade that's been Parkerized. 52-100 is really tough. So this is a perfect steel to be able to put up to pounding through wood, chopping kindling, and even doing some prying. Don't pry with the very, very tip of this knife. get that blade in somewhere a little bit deeper, and you can actually do a little bit of prying. This knife is very, very tough. Like our other knives, the Marshall comes with a Kydex sheath. This Kydex sheath has our belt clip on it that will allow you to carry it horizontal or vertical. Again, you can switch sides with that clip. If you want to go kind of a cross draw, left-handed side, you can flip that around whichever way you would like. You can also just take that clip off if you want to just tuck the Marshall down in something. So this paracord or this Kydex sheath, it really locks into place. It's got a really nice snap, and it's got an adjustable retention screw for you to be able to really tighten it down. Let's talk about why we call this the Marshall. I grew up in Lincoln, Montana, which is right on the edge of the famous Bob Marshall Wilderness. The Bob, or the Bob Marshall Wilderness, is known for grizzly bears. It's known for elk, for deer, for moose, goats. It's a beautiful, amazing wilderness, and it's right on the edge of Lincoln, Montana, where I grew up. And this would be a great knife to have in hunting camp back in the Bob Marshall Wilderness. So that's why we call it the Marshall. Kind of like the old West days, the Marshall in town was the boss. This knife is definitely the boss of the MKC lineup. So get yourself a Marshall. It's super cool. Have some fun with it out in the field, and let us know what you think. Thank you.